We're going to be making some changes to the bottom of the seat, and then we're going to be duplicating our seat, bringing it back to the first layer, and using an array modifier to create all the different seats that are going to be here. Then we can easily change how many seat rows we want just by changing the count. And we're going to make them sit nicely within the bus. So we're going to go back to our Blender file. We're going to tab into edit mode, and we're going to select these edges here. So we're going to alt right click. We're actually just going to select all these, delete and choose vertices, and then we're going to select this here and press F to fill that in. So select this edge, press F to fill that in. Then we're going to do Control R, we're going to left click, right click, and we're going to switch to face select. We're going to select this face, E to extrude, right click to cancel, and bring this up. Then we're going to go to the bottom and we're going to select these faces here and these faces here. Then we're going to do E to extrude, right click to cancel, and bring these down. Just give this enough depth that you feel is appropriate for a seat. One more thing you might want to do is go to this side here and select all the faces on the side, and then just move them in or out to make this wider or skinnier. I tried to make it similar in distance to this, but it doesn't have to be exact. Just kind of adjust it until you're happy. And then once we're done with that, we're going to press tab to go to object mode. We're going to press A twice to select everything. We're going to do Shift D to duplicate, right click to cancel, M to move it to a new layer. We're going to select this first layer to move it to the first layer. Then we're going to go down here and left click on the first layer. So now we're on our first layer. Now what we want to do is select this bottom piece, go to the modifiers tab, and we're going to apply this bevel modifier. So click apply, go to the back seat and click apply to apply the mirror modifier. Now we're going to join these together, so I'm going to select the seat, hold shift and select this piece, and I'm going to do Control J to join them together. Now we want to select the seat belt buckle, and then hold shift and select this, and do Control J to join that together. Now I'm going to tab into edit mode and do Alt H to unhide everything, and then A twice to select everything. You'll notice that the seat is facing the back of the bus, so we're going to do R, Z, and 180. And press enter to rotate it 180 degrees. So now we're going to scale it down with S. We're going to do 1 for front view, Z for wireframe, and we're going to bring this up. And we're going to bring it over as well. Again, I'm going to scale mine down. I think it's a bit big here. And then I'm just going to take a look at this and try to get the appropriate size. So I'm going to scale mine down some. We're going to need room for a second seat over here and then 2 other seats on the other side of the aisle, so we have to have these at a size where that's going to be possible. So maybe this is fine. We'll go from here. So we want this other seat on the other side, so we're going to do Shift D to duplicate this, right click to cancel, and then we're going to bring this over some. We're going to do S, X, and then -1 to flip it on the X-axis and press enter. Now we have to do Control N to recalculate the normals. So now you'll see we have the armrest on what would be the aisle side, and we also have an armrest on the window side, and then in between we just have empty space. I'm going to bring this out a bit so that these 2 pieces are not intersecting. And I'm going to do 1 again and Z for wireframe to see how this is all lining up. And it looks okay to me. So I'm going to do A twice, and we're going to bring this back on the Y-axis. If you want to, you can bring it out on the X-axis until it's sticking through, and then bring it back in until it's just barely hidden. So just go until it's really close to the edge, basically, so we can use the most space on the inside as possible. So now looking at this, it looks like we are going to have enough space for an aisle. These other ones will be about here, so there'll be a little space for an aisle. So I think I got the size of my seats relatively correct. So what we're going to do is do Shift D to duplicate these again, and right click to cancel. And we're going to open up this properties panel here by either pressing N or left clicking on this plus sign. Then we're going to go to the top and we're going to change this to global. We want to change this from a negative value to a positive value, which will essentially just mirror this duplicate perfectly onto the other side. So we're going to left click here. We're going to left click and drag to get this negative sign, and then we're just going to press backspace to delete it, and then press enter. So now you see it jumps right over, and this is perfectly mirrored from these over here, and we have what would look like a nice aisle space here. So I think my scaling was pretty good. I like the amount of aisle space that there is. It seems pretty accurate to me. So just adjust yours if you need to. You can always go back and scale your starting one and then duplicate it and repeat the process here. So now that we have that, we can add in our mirror modifier. So we can add modifier, or our array modifier, excuse me. So add in the array modifier. We're going to left click here and type in 0 and then press enter. Then we can add in a Y value, so you can either left click and drag this and you can see our new seats being positioned here, or you can just left click and enter in any value you feel is correct. We're also going to increase the count until these stretch out further, so you can probably increase this to like 30 or something. Probably not that many, maybe like 15 or something lower than that. Probably 14 if you're using this Y value, but you can adjust the spacing of the seats. If you think there should be more spacing, you can do that by left clicking and dragging here. Just be sure to change the count so that it fits the bus size as well. So that's pretty much it for this part. If you want to, I mean, it looks like I have a little problem there when I zoom out, but that's not too bad. You can't see it in object mode. But if you want to, you can hide the bus. You can just go to object mode, select it, and hide it, and take a look at your seats. And I think that looks pretty good. So I'm just going to unhide that, and I'm going to save this by going to File and Save. Thank you to our awesome Patreon supporters. If you'd like to become a Patreon supporter yourself, head on over to patreon.com/StephenBrooks. Thank you for your support.